All right. So definitely not selling it, but keeping it because these companies are buying it up at an alarming rate, really, right? And Bitcoin is supposed to be for everybody, right? Everybody in Africa, everybody in diaspora, everybody in Asia, wherever you are, it doesn't matter. People should all be able to use Bitcoin. So very good idea to get your Bitcoin, to hold it. I like to do like a wrap Bitcoin, so I'll hold on to that, and then I can use that on different lending and DeFi platforms if I want as well. So a lot of things that you can do, but I would definitely not, this would not be a good time to be selling your Bitcoin. Just not financial advice, but advice. Okay, let's discover how these digital assets can empower the African diaspora globally. So if you guys remember from last time, AI always generates a different rocket ship, but that strategy about kind of the meme coins and all that kind of thing, kind of being a booster, kind of getting you going in terms of if you want to like hopefully make some big gains, just remember that if you think of it's like a venture capital company up front. So 24 out of 25 of the coins that you get, especially like meme coins and altcoins, there's a good chance they're going to fail. But one might go up 1,000x. And if that happens, obviously, you can take that and you can move that into some of the top coins like Ethereum, Solana, and most importantly into Bitcoin or even land or real estate or other things, right? So the idea is you really want to hold your Bitcoin for generational wealth, and then you can lend again, borrow against it, but you don't want to sell it, right? So you don't want to give up that Bitcoin. Bitcoin is really becoming the new asset class for the world. Okay. You have a question about that? Does that make sense? That confusing in any way, or hopefully hopefully that makes sense. So the Bitcoin is really what you're looking to hold kind of in the long term. Everything else kind of is like a step on the journey. All right. And then some of the headlines, obviously, I think we get close to 97,000 coming out of April, which is pretty good. We're headed back very close to 10,000 to 100,000, 10,000, 100,000. And then, of course, BlackRock has been, I think, $10 billion of coming in, of inflows into BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF. And that represents Bitcoin. It's obviously going off the market and getting under the control of BlackRock. So very good idea. I like to dollar cost average, keep dollar cost averaging and buying even a little bit. $10, $100 doesn't matter in a month or in a week, whatever you want. Just keep acquiring so that you're not just letting BlackRock get all of it, basically. And then also, meme coins have been starting to do a little better again. They were pretty lackluster for a while, but now they're actually starting to move. So that is good. So you got Bonk and Dog with Hat and all those. Remember, those are not things you hold long term though. Meme coins. If you have a meme coin and it like goes through the roof, you should take some profits and then use that. You can get some stable coins if you want. Get some Bitcoin. Definitely a good idea. Or even buy stuff that you need to in the real world, right? So meme coins are usually not a long-term play. They're more of a opportunity to kind of amp up your gains. So beyond Bitcoin, altcoin ventures, talk about Ethereum has an upgrade coming up. Solana seems to be doing pretty well again. And DeFi lending, you should look at different things like Aave and Uniswap and a lot of these platforms. I think maybe we'll do a session on that coming up here. But it gives you the opportunity to lend, to borrow, to do liquidity pools, things like that, and make some pretty good money on your cryptos while you're holding them, staking and all that good stuff. All right, so happening on the continent, 34% of African adults, if the AI got the right statistic here, own or use cryptocurrency. And we were talking about this in one group, I think, like last week or something. That is even with the fact that I would say, the Nigerian government has attempted probably a few times to try to ban Bitcoin. And Nigeria represents the second largest market for Bitcoin in the world right now, I believe. So you can see that governments really are not able to block this. And I won't get into all the politics of it, but there's a reason that a lot of people are holding Bitcoin. I think it's a wise idea, right? 8.1 billion annual remittances into sub-Saharan Africa. So that's quite a lot. And I would hope to see more. In fact, I would love to see, like Ethiopia is using their like Grand Renaissance Dam, they call it, and they're using it to the hydroelectric power to actually mine Bitcoin, which is a great idea, right? So I'd love to see other countries using like sustainable, whether it be solar or water, because a lot of that is so available throughout Africa, and actually getting Bitcoin, which is going to be effectively looks like it's going to be a reserve currency in the world if we're not already there. and 45% lower fees on crypto. So obviously it costs a lot less if you want to send money, you want to send it to the Caribbean, send it to Africa, Latin America, wherever it is, Asia, Southeast Asia, you're able to do that much more cheaply than you would if you tried to send it, using Western Union or MoneyGram or one of these types of folks. So very good. And also, of course, we talk about blockchain is tamper proof. Everything is on the blockchain. There's no real hiding of what's happened. So we can all see exactly, what was done and by who, which is good for things not being corrupt, which is great. And we also have NFTs and other things like that that are on the continent as well. And we have lots of virtual world things that are going on, as well as digital assets, and community building, which I think is really important. It's good just to connect with other people who are involved in this. And obviously they can be diaspora, they can be anybody, who is interested in these areas. And just starting to connect with people, as well as starting to work and collaborate on different projects. So that's why we try to feature different projects in our Wakanda meetups every month, and we'll keep on doing that. And so anybody across Africa, diaspora, anything that is owned, Black owned, et cetera, any of that would all be things that we're all very happy to, bring on the platform. Bring something on the platform, by the way, does not mean that we're endorsing it, but it just means we're giving you the opportunity to meet and connect and network. You should do your own due diligence for any project or anything that you see here. Okay. And then virtual land, African themed spaces is growing valuable. So we have lots of virtual worlds and all that kind of stuff, and NFTs as well that are happening. All right, and we have here, this is just the idea behind making sure you're kind of building, your community, which we try to build here, patience, long-term thinking. You don't want to just drop every time the market drops a little bit, just sell everything because you really lose out that way. I don't do a tremendous amount of trading. If you're a trader, you may be able to benefit a little more from that, but I did start using a few trading bots, so I'm still experimenting with those. Actually, from last time, that was a presenter EasyBot. I'm trying it, so I'm kind of experimenting with that now. And then diversify. So never put everything all in one asset. You want to have different assets, different asset classes, not everything into, okay, I'm putting it all into one coin. I see a lot of people who are like really, really excited about a single coin, but just because you're excited about that coin doesn't mean that that one particular coin is going to do well. So you should really mix it up a little bit. And also, when you make some money on it, take profits, put that into cash or put it into a stable coin or put it into Bitcoin or put it into land or pay your rent, whatever you want to do. But make sure you don't leave everything just sitting in a coin and then watch, because inevitably the cycle is going to go down, up. That happens, right? So you don't want to just lose out on profits by just sitting in and watching the market. And then also research, of course, make sure that you're studying it before you invest in anything. And, you shouldn't take my word for it. You should take anybody's word for it. You should go and do your own due diligence for anything that you're going to invest in, right? So very key. And of course, avoid scams because they're definitely out there. You don't have as many if it's just like purely buying Bitcoin or something like that. But if you're going to like some crazy coin you never heard of, you want to be pretty careful with those. Or somebody's promising you like insanely high gains that, usually if it's too good to be true, it is too good to be true. Okay. All right, so building our future and crypto, we talked about these, kind of learning, connecting, starting, and that's what a lot of the things that we try to do with our Wakanda meetups and trying to kind of build that network where everybody's able to get involved in this. Obviously, the US government and all these other folks are really getting involved. Uh-oh, what is that? Sorry. All right, so obviously we have a lot of people who are getting involved. Here we go. In the space right now in the government, in a lot of leadership throughout the US, companies. So this is a place we really don't want to be left out. We really want to see a lot of people also joining and getting involved in this space, because there's a lot of ways to build wealth, a lot of ways to, make money and just, to really benefit from it. All right, so we have here. Well, so speaking of the policies, the latest, lots of bills that are going through. There's now one that went through. There was guidance basically given that banks are all now able to basically interact and use crypto and Bitcoin. So that they used to be restricted. So they are now open in the US to be able to do that. The SEC is, very pro crypto at this point, and there's a lot of new ETFs and things that are coming out. Of course, US policies excuse me, you're influencing the whole world. So it's game theory, right? If the US is going to buy a bunch of Bitcoin, which the US is going to do, so is China. They're going to buy Bitcoin too because they don't want to lose out. Russia's getting their Bitcoin. Even in Europe, the governments, even though it seems like they don't want the people necessarily so much to do it, but the governments are going to buy the Bitcoin, right? In Switzerland, I'm sure. So every one of these areas, what you're seeing is you're seeing just like a snowball of interest in this area. And you don't want to ignore if you see those headlines, they go, oh, this country is buying Bitcoin, or this country just approved it, or this company is buying it, because there's only a limited supply, which means when it's gone, right? You don't want to be the person who's like, oh, I waited, now it's $10 million for Bitcoin and I can spend $5 on it. That's not going to buy you very much, right? So now would be the time versus then. Just don't get scared because, you know, you have short-term price changes. So, and of course, Trump's stance is very pro-crypto. So regulatory landscape is moving quickly. A lot of bills coming through, things like strategic Bitcoin reserve, strong support for crypto, which is a complete flip, especially in America, because that was not the case in the previous administration. And then court decisions, SEC oversight, all that is becoming very positive. They're throwing away a lot of the cases they had against crypto exchanges and things like that. All of that is actually being thrown out. And so Coinbase, everybody's able to operate really easily now. Got another person joining in. Joan. Welcome, Joan. All right, and this corporate Bitcoin race rush is on, as I talked about. BlackRock, you know, they are buying, but does everybody know who BlackRock is, by the way? Anybody know who BlackRock is? Want to share? Anybody know?
One of the top fund houses in the US.
One of the top companies in the US. Yes, absolutely. Welcome, Joan.
One of the top fund houses in the US. That's BlackRock.
Sorry, what did you say? One of the what houses?
One of the top fund houses in the US.
Okay. Yes, I would go even further, but yes. Isa?
Hi. So I know BlackRock is the largest asset management firm in the world.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. BlackRock is pretty much the company that owns everything. I mean, literally everything. I don't care if it's lands, companies, shipping, you name it, they own it. Right. So this is the company that is buying up as much Bitcoin as they can get their hands on through their ETFs. And that should be a big signal that, well, this is where things are going, right? So now is a time where people can still buy some at a somewhat reasonable price. I say somewhat because I remember back when it was like 10, 15,000. I remember much before that, right? But still somewhat reasonable. But as these folks, so MicroStrategy, what do they acquire? 200,000 Bitcoin worth billions of dollars. They're buying like every week. They're buying. That's Michael Saylor, if you've ever seen him before. 21 shares. They call it 21 shares because there's 21 million Bitcoin. They have an ETP, exchange traded product, I think, provider now. So they're, I think Jack Mahler's another guy. Was it the guy from Strike? Anyway, they are going to be the heads of that company. It's going public, and they're focused big time on Bitcoin investments. Metaplanet as well. They're in Japan, I believe. Huge. They're doing the same kind of strategy as MicroStrategy, buying tons of Bitcoin. And of course, why act now? Corporate acquisition. What it's doing is taking the supply, and as everybody knows, when something is in a market and there's less of it available, it becomes more valuable, right? So these companies are not buying this stuff for nothing. They are buying it because they know where it's going. And I think one of the things that's really important, whether it be these big companies, countries now, or like wealthy individuals, a lot of times what I'll see people doing, and I'm not saying everybody does it, but unfortunately a lot of them do, is they'll come out in the market. So a really good example was the head of what is it, JP Morgan, and he was famous for always coming out and saying, "Oh, it's such a terrible product. Bitcoin's so bad. You should never touch it." But at the same time, over like the last 7 years, he's been buying it, right? Behind the scenes. So you really have to look at and say, okay, what are these companies, what are these people doing? Not what are they saying? Because a lot of people will come on a TV station and they go, oh, you know, it's not good. You don't want to do it. It's a scam, blah, blah, blah. But then if you go and look what their company's doing, they're absolutely buying it, right? So you really want to be aware of what's happening because companies like BlackRock are not buying this stuff for no reason. Believe me. All right. So coming up here, of course, crypto tax implications. We'll probably talk about some of that. wallet best practices and security. That's a topic Isaac touched on, and we'll probably be doing some more on that. Different investment clubs, including what we're doing here. We'll call it the Wakanda group, if you will. We're trying to, get a lot of people to really get into this space and, hopefully profit and really benefit from it. And resources for continued learning. We're always sharing a lot of that kind of stuff. We share it in our group as well as the Telegram group. If the Telegram group, you're not in there, we put in the chat to make sure that you are able to join. And then let's talk about any questions you guys have, areas of interest. You can let us know now or later. I think it's the end of it. So I'll give it a few seconds just here. Any questions or comments or thoughts before we go on to our next person, next presenter?
What do you think about the Trump crypto who went through the roof and crash and have been to 7? Me, I've seen the booming of this crypto. I wait that fall to 40% fall, and they I kept it at 40, and they crash at 20, and now they are at 13, something like that. It's a scam. It's a scam. It's a scam.
I don't know if I'd call it a scam. I'd call it a pump and dump, right? So what he did is because this is the way that money is always made, especially in capital markets and in a capitalist system, right? If you're the insider and you can get it first at a very cheap price, like Trump, you issue it, right? So he got it super cheap. He probably paid like nothing to issue that coin. When he got elected, it went through the roof, like you said, right? Really went up. So he took out his money, right? His kids took out their money. Everybody made their money, right? But the rest of the market, you came in later. I didn't buy any, but the rest of the market, you come in later, you get it at a price that's like lower and then it's declining, right? So I wouldn't call it a scam, but I call it a pump and dump. And I mean, that's what happens if you think about the regular stock market in the US, let's say, or anywhere, okay? In the US, very few people can get access to pre-IPO stocks, right? So if you get something pre-IPO, a lot of times those stocks are like, whatever, Coinbase is like maybe a few cents or $1, okay? But most of us couldn't get access to that because you're not an accredited investor or you're not on the inside of those networks, right? You can't get it. So those people get it at like $1, and then it goes up to whatever it is now, 100, 200. So they're getting like 100x, 200x, whatever, right? On their stock. And then everybody else comes in, they can buy it maybe at $50 or $70 or something, right? And yeah, maybe you get 15% on your stock, but you're not making 100x, right? So, I mean, people could say, well, that's a scam. It's not really a scam. It's the way the capital markets work. That's why I'm excited about crypto, because we have the opportunity to front run in this area where usually we don't have access to anything. But you still have to be careful, because if you get the pump and dump, right, you're going to lose your money. So I wouldn't call it a scam. I would call it a pump and dump for sure. Like I said, I didn't buy any. I'm usually not fast enough getting those at the first stage to really make any money on it. And the other things, there's a lot of trading bots and things like that too, right? So even things that are available, the bots usually find it first, and the bots usually buy it and sell it before I'm even able to like hit anything on my keyboard. So I did start trying to use a bot, but generally speaking, it's really hard to beat the market in that way. If that makes sense.
And also, second question: did you try to trade on Solana memescoin?
So I did not do a lot of Solana meme coins, but I actually bought a lot of Solana a few years ago, which worked out pretty well. So the actual Solana, I was pretty happy with the price movement on it, right? That did really well. So that was probably one of my best performers for this cycle, was Solana. But every cycle, so it's a 4-year cycle basically in crypto because of the Bitcoin halving. Every cycle, you're going to have different winners and different losers, right? So you should never think, oh, because the last time that was the best one, it won't necessarily be the best one next time, right? So you always have to be doing your research for the next cycle. Now, Bitcoin, I think, is pretty clear as a long-term winner. As long as this market segment and this asset class exists, Bitcoin is going to be Bitcoin. But the problem is that, when Bitcoin goes up, whatever, 5x, you have some of those, like Solana went up like 50x or something like that. I don't remember what it was. It was big, right? So what you want to do is you want to find those so you can take that money, like that rocket I showed you, and then take that money and you go, okay, wow, I made 50x. Put some of that into Bitcoin. Don't sell your Bitcoin, keep your Bitcoin. And then you can also, take some out, pay some debt off if you have debt, or buy some land, or do whatever you need to do, right? So that's why you want to use those memes and altcoins, because they have the potential for much bigger gains. But like I said, think of them like a venture capital firm. Venture capital firms expect that 24 out of 25 are going to fail. So expect that most of your altcoins are going to go to nothing. But if you have one that goes to 1000x, you're good, right? So that's how the game that you play that game.
Yes, you're right.
Other thoughts, questions before we go on?
Thanks, John. Quick question. Where do you see Bitcoin by the end of 2025, given what's happening and all the updates you've given?
So definitely not an official prediction and definitely not financial advice, but saying that, I think that, I mean, there's a wide range here. So as long as we don't have anything catastrophic coming out of these trade wars, tariff wars right now, obviously that's been like the big uncertainty in the market. We have a really pro-crypto, obviously president and administration in the US, pro-crypto Congress as well. A lot of people got elected there are all pro-crypto, and that affects the world because everybody still looks at what the US is doing. So I think if everything goes really well, we could easily see a 200,000 or above Bitcoin this cycle. I think that's possible. There are a lot of predictions. Obviously, it's not guaranteed, but this is what we would call crypto fall, right? So there's like, the 4 seasons. And this is the one where usually you get the really big price spikes in Bitcoin. Now, the other thing that's at play is that we have a lot of corporate, like we talked about, a lot of corporations buying, a lot of institutions buying, and that might stabilize the market a little bit. So we may not see as big a dip, and it could actually become what we call a super cycle, right? So instead of a 4-year cycle and then it goes back down, it could possibly, no guarantee, it could just keep going up, 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 right? And if that happens, we have no idea how high it could go. Because remember, when you have people like BlackRock and Metaplanet and all these people, and they're just buying it, buying it, buying it, there's only so much supply out there, right? So that could affect things, but there's no guarantee. We could also have a standard cycle and it could go back down. It could go back down to 50 or 60 or something, right? That is possible. So this year, very bullish. And, my personal range, and this is not based on science or anything like that, any like technical analysis, is more just, understanding what my feeling of the market, in the very low case, if we go down, maybe we've got several more months and we get back to like, 50s, 60s, that's possible. But in more like the likely or the bullish case, I'd say we're probably looking at 150, maybe well over 200 in terms of price for Bitcoin. But either way, at this point, what I've learned from the last cycle, I'm not letting go of any Bitcoin because I wish I had kept everything that I had in the previous cycle. So, yeah.
Right. Thank you.
All right. Welcome. I think, Marisa, you joined. Anybody else have any questions?
Yes,
Good.
thank you. Hi, everyone. Hi, John.
Hi, Marie. All right. Good. Okay, so we are going to go ahead, and I think I'm going to hand over to Pa Malik to talk about peer-to-peer. If there's no more questions for me, I'm going to stop sharing and let me enable your sharing. So you can do that. Okay, give me a moment.
All right, cool.
Enable multiple participant sharing. All right.
I just think
You'll be able to share now.
Don't have their hand up unless that was accident.
Oh, we have a hand up? No, that's applause. But yes, thank you, Isa.
All right, good afternoon from Nigeria. My name is Pa Malik. I'll be taking you through the presentation on peer-to-peer. Let me share my screen. Please let me know when you can see my screen.
Loading. Yep, there we go. We can see it.
Okay, great. So peer-to-peer, before I talk about peer-to-peer, let me just take us back in history, where if you look at the evolution of money, when people were trading in time immemorial, people used to trade by barter, meaning if I have a bag of sugar, you have a bag of rice, we can trade directly. Now, money evolves from the cowrie shells to coins to paper money, now to cryptocurrencies. Now, cryptocurrencies offer this P2P trading, meaning trading directly with your counterparty. Now, imagine you have a supplier in the United States, and then you need to buy something from that supplier. You don't need banks. You don't need an intermediary. All you need is the supplier's wallet address, and then you can trade directly with the supplier, and that is peer-to-peer. Now, that being said, permit me to put it on full screen. Yeah. Now, that being said, what is P2P crypto trading? Now, this is actually buying and selling digital assets directly between buyers and sellers with no intermediaries involved. Now, currently, sorry, permit my voice. I have a terrible cold, so just ignore that itchy voice. Now, we have centralized exchanges like Binance, Bybit, Paxful that offer these P2P services where users buying crypto assets can trade directly with each other, right? So you don't need any intermediaries. You have privacy. You can just buy. It's just between you two, right? And then you have the flexibility. Now, John mentioned, the crypto adoption in Nigeria, right? I would say the crypto adoption in Africa is pretty high, right? Because if you look at most African countries, remittances are a huge part of their GDP. Now, remittances come from the diaspora, from the United States, from Europe, and the likes. And when you use traditional financial systems and you do remittances, most of the time, users or beneficiaries don't have the control of or the flexibility of dictating maybe the exchange rate and how they want to get it. But with P2P, right, you can actually dictate the exchange rate that you want, and also you can dictate where you want it. If you want it to be paid in your bank account or in your mobile wallets that are very popular in this part of the continent. Now, how does P2P trading work, right? Like I said earlier, we have platforms like centralized exchanges like Binance and Bybit that offer these services. To participate or start trading with counterparties directly, first you need an account. The account that you need, you have to first access the platform that offers these services. And I've mentioned Binance, I've mentioned Bybit. Nigeria actually banned Binance at some point, and they're currently not offering the Nigerian fiat currency on P2P. However, you have other platforms like Bybit that offers this service. So choose a platform, create an account. Then when you log into that account, you have to verify your identity. That is just to protect the users on that platform. So they would do some extra KYCs just to make sure that you are identifiable. Now, once that happens, when you log into that platform, you would see different buyers and sellers of different assets. Some sell Bitcoin, some sell stable coins like USDT, USDC. So based on your preference, you just choose who you want to trade with. Now, you initiate a trade. Imagine you're trading with someone you don't really know. Now, these platforms are open to everyone, and you don't really know your counterparty. However, the platform that you're using will serve as a guarantor. So they would create an escrow services, meaning if you're buying a digital asset from another counterparty that you don't know, they will lock that counterparty's digital assets. And then until you make that payment and the counterparty confirms that they've received the payment, and then the coins are released into your wallet. Now, these are the steps that makes up the crypto trading P2P work. Now, once you make that payment, the counterparty releases the digital assets into your wallet, and now you have the wallet. And this is one of the methods most people use to actually acquire digital assets like Bitcoin and USDT. Now, there are a lot of benefits trading P2P. One is you have lower fees. Today is Saturday, right? Imagine you have an emergency today. You want to send money to your relative in, let's say, Gambia. Your best bet is, if you're using traditional financial systems, is Monday for the beneficiary to get it. But with P2P, you can just do it now and the person receives it now. And guess what the fees are? Fees are, in Binance, for example, fees are as low as 0.5 cent. Imagine you're sending $1,000 and you're just paying 0.5 cent as fees. That is really, really low compared to traditional banking systems. Then you have that privacy and security. If you're using some of these platforms that actually do KYC, like Binance and Bybit, you have that privacy, you have that security. And when I say privacy, meaning you're just dealing with the counterparty. There's no third party involved. You don't need to go through banks to do some documentations or, those kind of hurdles that you go through before you can do any transaction. And wider payment options, right? So most of these platforms support various fiats, like Binance over 100 fiat currencies. And you have a wide range of options on how you want to trade. You can do bank transfers, you can do mobile wallets, you can do maybe wire transfer or ACH. And basically, it's up to you, the buyer or the seller, to determine the payment option that you want. And then the flexibility and control. I talked about doing remittances. And when you do remittances to, let's say, all these MTOs, right, or IMTOs, that's the International Money Transfer Organizations, you don't get to choose the exchange rate, right? They will just tell you, oh, you have $100 remittance here, and this is the equivalent in fiat currency. You take it or leave it, right? But with P2P, you have a control on that exchange rate. You can actually use it, go on the platform, list your USDT, and decide to sell it at the rate that you wish to sell it at. And that gives you that flexibility. Now, trading P2P comes with risks and some considerations. Now, one of them is scam. Currently, in this part of the world, people are exploiting this P2P, and especially, in West Africa, right? You see, people are vulnerable because they're not aware of this trending technology. P2P scams happen, people being used as money mules, and what they do is they will use your account to scam other people, put it in that account, and then use you to come and trade P2P with counterparties, verifiable counterparties that are on these platforms like Binance, and then externalize these forms. So those are some of the things that happen there, and which you have to be very careful. The platform that you use a platform that is very strict on KYC if you want to trade P2P to avoid these scams. Do not trade with someone you just meet online, let's say Facebook or Instagram, and then they just decide to trade with you P2P. Do not do that. It's very risky. And in terms of security, protect your personal information and ensure the platform you use is secure. Like I mentioned, again, platform is very key. Do not just use maybe decentralized exchanges where maybe you may be vulnerable because you don't know your counterparty, really. So use a platform that ensures that security. And volatility. Here, volatility refers to the change in price of the security. For example, if you're trading P2P on, let's say, a very volatile coin, let's say even the Trump coin. Someone mentioned the Trump coin here. The Trump coin was very volatile. We saw it, go as high as, was it 78 thereabout, and then crash to 8. Now, imagine you trading P2P with that volatile coin. One of the counterparties will definitely lose. Imagine you agree on $100, and then while you're sending that coin, the price of that coin drops. So your counterparty will definitely receive a lot less than what you agree. So volatility in terms of what coin that you're trying to trade. If you ask me, I'll suggest fiat stable coins because there's less volatility there. The USDT, USDC are preferable when you're doing P2P transactions. Now, popular P2P trading platforms, I've already mentioned, I think, all of them. Bybit, which is popular now in Nigeria after they banned Binance. Then you have Binance, Paxful. These are common platforms that are supporting the Gambian Dalasi. That's where I am from. And yeah, you have so many others, right? You have so many other centralized exchanges that offer the P2P trading function. Now, you may be wondering, how do I start getting into P2P? Right? Step one is choose a platform. You can choose Binance, Bybit, Paxful, you name it. And then create an account. Step 2, create an account, sign up. And then step 3, verify your account. You go through KYC. And then step 4, you start trading. Once you have a crypto asset, you can buy and sell. Let's say you have a brother in the US, he can send you a digital asset, a stable coin, USDC, or a Bitcoin. And then you can use that and convert it to fiat in Naira or in $, right? And it's instant. And it's way faster when you're using P2P platforms rather than traditional banking platforms. I gave the example, today is Saturday. If you have an emergency, you needed money, now your best bet is P2P, right? You buy it, you send it, the beneficiary receives it and convert it to fiat, and the transaction is done. That's all I have for you on P2P. If you have any questions, please upfront it, and then I'll answer as best as I could. Thank you.
So Paul, maybe I'll start the questions. I did have a couple, a question and a comment. For P2P, I'm curious. I know I use a lot of times, Bitcoin or crypto to send to different folks that I work with on my team throughout Africa. Is it easy to go P2P and then get it into local currency or get it to like a bank, a fiat gateway? Is that easy to do or is it difficult?
So it's easy to do P2P in Africa because most of the exchanges don't connect directly to the national financial system. Like in America, you have Coinbase. You can actually link your bank account directly to Coinbase. In this part of the world, it's difficult. So your best bet is P2P. And P2P, you have those that have the digital assets and those that have the fiat. So you just trade. And you have the option of using multiple payment methods like bank transfer, mobile wallets, and the likes.
Okay, so it's very flexible for people then.
Exactly, very flexible.
I was going to make a comment, which it's just to note why Binance stopped operating in Nigeria. As I was following this pretty closely, sadly they had an executive. They'd set up a Binance for Nigeria, and then the executive got arrested for like 100 days or something. So it was a pretty big story all over, and I was ashamed to see that because it was a really good opportunity in Nigeria for supporting Binance and then having a really good option. So I was disappointed to see that happen, but that was the rest of the story. So
true. In fact, like you said, it was a very huge opportunity because Binance was willing to cooperate, willing to offer more solutions in Nigeria. Perhaps they could have even given them a license, and then the government would have earned revenue on that license.
Yeah. Hopefully it gets fixed in the future. Isaac, I'll pass it to you.
Thank you. Brilliant presentation, brother, as per usual. And one of the things Parmelik forgot to mention is that he also set up a community group for local Gambians who are trading in crypto. And that group, similar to the Wakanda group, offers the opportunity for people to learn, ask questions, and to engage with other people so they can transact on the blockchain safely and be educated, similar to what's been happening here with what John created for the Wakanda blockchain group as well. I'll share the group in the link for his group in the chat, so anyone wants to join, feel free. And he's also working on various other projects as well. I've been working closely with him for quite a while now, so very humble and highly intelligent man and very experienced in the blockchain industry. One of the things that we have done together in the past is demonstrated a live transaction, because this is one of the best opportunities for people to get on board. And I think if there is definitely a hunger for that in something that we can plan in the future, in a couple of months, possibly, to get our brother back on and show people how easy it is to transact, because he's already mentioned the privacy, security, and one of the key things I want to add on to that is the speed. You can do it, you're transacting on a Saturday, whether you're transacting on Saturday, Sunday, Monday, or any given day, or even if it's a Christmas day, you will receive your crypto in a matter of less than, I think the longest I've ever had to wait is 3 minutes for a transaction to be verified and completed on a blockchain. So P2P is incredibly powerful. I've used it myself when I was traveling in Tanzania, using local M-Pesa to send money through to M-Pesa to be able to buy goods locally. And we have one of the other powerful things that I've seen in the Gambian group is people actually buying local goods. Pa, are you able to just elaborate a little bit on that? Some of the
yeah. So right, you're right on that. People use it to expand their businesses so they can sell beyond borders. Let's say some people actually buy certain things in Nigeria, and because there's no central like a Swift sort of that can do instant payments, so they use P2P to actually pay their suppliers here in Nigeria. And I live in Nigeria. Sometimes I have needs in Gambia and I need emergency cash in Gambia. I just do P2P. I convert my Naira to USDT, then go to the Gambian market, convert it from USDT to dollars and sort out my emergency needs. So it's pretty instant, like Isaac said, it's fast and reliable.
Brilliant. Thank you for that. Has anyone got any other questions or any other experiences that they want to share or get some more knowledge around P2P, or is there other things that you want to learn and see around the P2P itself trading?
I have a question. Peer-to-peer, it's for remittance use case, or it's also for trading, making profit? I don't know all the use case. People are using it also to make profit, or it's only for remittance?
Not only for remittance. So peer-to-peer basically is you engaging directly with your counterparty. For example, people use it to receive payments. You may have an online business, and then you can sell something to someone in Kenya, and the person just pays you USDT, and you receive it instant. So that's one use case. Another use case is for remittances. You have a brother in the diaspora, he sends you USDT. You have that control of, negotiating a better rate or pricing it at a better rate, and then get your fiat currency that you wanted. So there are so many use cases. Like you can use it to expand your payment options. If you're doing wire transfers, you can expand it. Now you can receive Bitcoin or USDT payments. So
okay. For example, if I have a client who is paying for coaching, $1,000, he can use a fiat and inject it on the system, and me, I receive my dollars?
Yes. So let's say your client is in Nigeria. He can use Naira, which is the currency used in Nigeria, and convert it to USDT. That is digital dollar, and then send it to you. So you may be in Kenya or France, and then you can convert it to euro and get your euros in your bank account. Make sense?
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I was going to share kind of a story, the difference. I think that Isaac said it took like 3 minutes, right, as long as he's ever waited. I can tell you there was a situation some years ago where we had to get money from Nigeria for my dad, and, a medical situation had happened. And I spent with my sister weeks trying to get money through transfers through the banks, getting approvals, especially because it was coming from Nigeria. It was so painful. And that could literally have been done with a Bitcoin or crypto in minutes. So I want to share that difference.
Right.
Yeah. Like I said, with the Gambian community, I've done I don't know the total value. It is in its thousands of transactions with local peer-to-peer traders who have set it up as their own business to facilitate transactions and to build that reputation for themselves as well. And they are profiting obviously of offering a service which you sometimes have to probably pay a lot more to facilitate through traditional finance. And I think probably that's where some of the issues are with some of the other countries is Binance is kind of taken away a market away from traditional finance, and they feel that they're losing control. But this is the beauty of blockchain, is that it allows us to be in control of our money and not always having to go through people who are going to charge us a premium to carry out a simple transaction, and we can carry out the same transaction quicker, safer, and a lot cheaper.
Right. Right. And John, I have a similar story to yours. Someone was in Dakar receiving medical attention, and it was on a weekend, and they needed money immediately. And banks were closed, so they were all, there was panic everywhere. The funds were needed in Dakar, and the person is in Gambia. So I had a call and said, look, we really need to help this relative of ours, and then we can't really get the money there. So I suggested, P2P, because I had a very good friend in Senegal who also has a very huge community. They've even developed their own digital coin called the Send coin. So I reached out to him and said, can you do a P2P? Because there's an emergency that we need to sort out in Senegal. And he said, yeah, sure. And it was done within a minute, and, that could save lives. That could save lives.
Absolutely. Other questions for Malik when on P2P? This is really important because this is really how you can, exchange and get value anywhere in the world when you need it. So this is a very powerful doing peer-to-peer. By the way, any cautions that you have,
Yeah,
for
I have an extra
caution?
question.
Go ahead.
For example, can we pay for a hotel or a big expense with a peer-to-peer? Business are open on that, or it's only for individuals?
Businesses are open. Some businesses, I know a travel agency in Gambia accepts digital assets payment like USDT. I also know some bureau de change that can actually, facilitate P2P transactions. So,
Okay,
yeah,
thank you.
you're welcome.
So, Pi, just to if you could just answer John's question, he's talking about any cautions or concerns.
Sorry, can you take that again?
I believe John was asking about any cautions or concerns that people should be mindful of. Is that right, John?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Like the early days of peer-to-peer, like I think there was a story of somebody who went and met somebody in a back alley somewhere, and they beat him over the head and took their money. So yeah.
So maybe I'll give an example of what's currently happening in Gambia, right? So it's pretty new there. People are not really aware of how it works. So what some of the scammers are doing is they will meet you online and offer you a business proposal. Say, we're giving you a job as a finance assistant. Then they will use your own personal account, your own personal banking account, and then be remitting monies there. You just see monies coming into your account. You don't know where these funds are coming from. So basically what they're doing is they're using your account to scam other people and put the money in your account. Now, after they consolidate the monies in your account, they will make you open a Binance account or even use the traditional banking system to externalize the funds. So they can do a wire transfer outside the Gambia. They can do a rapid transfer to another country, or they can do P2P on Binance because they're using you. You would have to do a KYC on Binance, and you have to do a KYC on your bank. And then both KYCs will match because Binance will see you as John and would see in your banking app as John. So this matches, so you can actually do a peer-to-peer. Whilst what they're doing is you're a victim because you don't know that you're being used and you're being used as a money mule. And those are very scary moments where people are taking loans, putting in some of these fake investment opportunities, like the one that collapsed recently in Nigeria. About I think $1 billion, if I'm not mistaken, right? A lot of money because they were offering all these Ponzi schemes. Bring your money today, get it double tomorrow. So most of those things are happening, and then most of them are using cryptocurrencies to do that. So you have to be wary. You have to know the platforms that you're engaging, and then do your extra checks, do your extra research before you trade P2P.
Good. Any other questions for Pa Malik on this? Very good. All right, so we are gonna do a quick update from Azuka, who is on.
John,
And
John,
I'll go. Yes.
before you proceed with the update, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, I want to know, look, I've got, let's say an altcoin account with altcoin traders. It's a South African, what you call it, cryptocurrency bank or something. Yeah. Now, if I would like to have that invest profit gaining, which platform are you advising, or how should one go about to have it invest for growth?
So I guess I can start answering. So, and you said it from South Africa, did you say?
That's right.
Okay. Um, I will actually, so I'll let others also kind of chime in here. I mean, the best platform and I mean the most risk-free one is Binance, I think, if you're outside of the US, because it's very big, it's very well known, and it's, it's very reputable. So you have a lot of things you can invest in, fractionalize, different things if you want to on the blockchain. You can invest in, there's a lot of staking. They have rewards. It's a great platform. And I'm pretty sure it's available in South Africa. If anybody can confirm that for me, but I'm pretty sure it's available in South Africa.
Okay. Thank you.
There are a lot of others, but like Pamak was just talking about, be careful if it's like some off thing that you've never heard of, and then because you can get into trouble that way. So
All right. No, thanks. Thank you.
And yeah, Binance is available in SA.
Yeah, Binance is the most popular in Africa, right? And like John said, yeah, they have all this earn on your wallet, right? So they have different coins that they pop up sometimes. They can tell you, oh, on a USDT, they're offering a 10%, something like fixed deposit that you do in the traditional financial system. They have something like that in Binance, where they lock your coins for a certain period of time and then give you a reward of 10% or so. So you can look out for some of those offerings.
Oh, all right. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you.
Any other questions there? All right, Azuka, over to you. If you want to take over the share, you can do that, and then let's take a look at the updates on Invincible, and then we will be taking a look next at our HEXucations. So, Azuka, go ahead, please.
Good day, everyone. Yeah, this is Azuka speaking from the UK, and just going to share an update about what we've been working on. I've been here several times to speak about this project, and just going to share a quick update on how far we've gone. I'm going to share my screen. Second.
Is it letting you share?
Yeah, I'm just looking for particular browser. So once share. Okay. Is it visible now?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so in short, let's change this one. Come on. Do I get the projection? Okay, so thanks guys for having me. Like I said, I'm Azuka speaking from the UK, and over here we're building a blockchain football manager game. As we all know, football is a very big sport all over the world and have billions of users that supports it. And we've been doing research and seeing that there are lapses in terms of the sport and the football simulation manager game, whereby there are lots of football manager games out there with hundreds of millions of users, with one of the biggest one having 200 million users. and those guys play the game just for fun and earn no reward, spending all their time and attention. As we know, when we build economy or when we have a monetary system, it's all being built on time and people's time and their attention. The more attention you give to a particular asset, and the more it goes up in value. So hence, we're building a football manager game on the Stellar blockchain, whereby people can compete on different leagues and earn rewards when they win the championship, just like when we play football in the UK. Winning the league or winning a Champions League, you earn a monetary reward. But in our game, when you win this league, we incentivize the winners with the token called IFM token, Invincible Football Manager token, and also with NFT rewards as well. And in the game, most of the players and in-game assets are NFTs, so meaning you can also sell those player assets or in-game assets and earn the reward as well, whereby you could cash those out for your personal gain. So what is the problem we're trying to solve? We're trying to disrupt the space a little bit, because a lot of the big games out there, the value of being kept by the company who built them. And what we've been doing is trying to take the value out of those companies and putting it back to the community. Like we say, crypto and blockchain is all about community building and all. So since we've been building this with Araku Interactive, which is the company set up here in the UK, it's been over here. We've been working on trying to make the initial plan and everything, and then we got to partner with Stellar. Probably a lot of you might have heard about Stellar blockchain. It's one of the top 15 or top 10 if you get out all those other projects that are not blockchain companies. So Stellar is one of the top 10 blockchain out there, and they have very low transaction fee when it comes to transaction fees, and they're also very big in terms of remittance, because I know a lot of people use remittance, and Stellar is one of the best when it comes to international transactions and now, and they partner with a lot of African businesses, and currently they've also partnered with MoneyGram, so they also do remittance for MoneyGram as well, which is very good. So we've been partnering with Stellar. I'm just going to switch over here a little bit so you can see our page with Stellar. And this is, like I say, Invincible Football Manager. We're building for billions of football manager and football fans out there. And also for crypto enthusiasts as well, and NFT collectors, because it's not just for football fans, but NFT collectors, people who like crypto and meme coins, but our project is not a meme project, not a meme coin as well. And we have a token system that powers the in-game economy called IFM. And since we've been building, I say again, we've been working with Stellar, and Stellar is one of our big supporters. They've actually funded us in terms of the building of the project. And recently, we've just completed the first stage of prototyping, how the game is going to look like, how it will work, and all the blockchain interactions of it, meaning the smart contracts have been written and how the auction system works, because in football games or in real world football, you have transfer market whereby a team is buying a player from another team and they make transactions with either dollar or pounds in the game. You can also buy player assets from other players. And when that transaction happens, you earn the money from selling your player, and then that money you can decide to withdraw to your bank account or to your exchange account, and that's value you've created through the game token, as we've just said. So what we're doing now, we're actually at the next phase of the game, because we've just finished the prototyping, and now we're heading towards the full-scale development. So we also wanted to share these updates with the community, because this community is very close to my heart. I've been here for a very long time, over 2 years now, if I'm not, no, I think 3 to 4 years now, Joe, if I'm not.
Yeah, I think 3 to 4 years.
Yeah, so why I'm sharing, why I'm passionate and keep sharing this information with these communities, because like I said, this we're African first, and we're trying to create something of value. And our team, majority of our team are from Africa. We have team from Tanzania, Kenya. Myself, I'm Nigerian, but I'm here in the UK. So we're building this, and we want the Africans to be the first to take advantage of it. Like John said, when he talked about the Trump coin, the people who got it the first, they get all the value from it. So what we're doing is to open this up to you guys to see what we're building, and I would also share this link to see how we are partnering with Stellar, which is the blockchain also supporting the game in terms of funding. And this funding, they're not taking equity or they're not taking token, they're all grants for us to build as well, because they are incentivizing builders to build on their blockchain. That is how you get to see that blockchains are going up in price, or their tokens are going up in price, like Ethereum or SU or Solana, because they try to get developers to build on their blockchain. And if those developers are able to launch those assets on the blockchain, and then people trade on them using their token, hence putting value in their blockchain and also the value on their tokens as well. So that is what we've been doing. And we didn't just get the partnership, we had to compete for it. Out of about 20 to 30 projects that competed for it, we're actually one of the top 5 that got one of the biggest grants. And also, we've also been invited again to get the next round of funding. But what we're building is a very big project, and they're not just going to fund every part of it, but we're opening it up for people who are interested in supporting us, not just in terms of funding, but if we have Black-owned developers and blockchain and professionals, we want to work with people that can actually give value to our project in terms of development as we building this, but as well as 3D art designers, graphic designers, whichever kind of skill you've got, we actually want to work with people. And so as well, we can meet our milestone and tend to launch this project as early as the end of the year. But what we're doing now is, I've just said we finished the prototype, and we're hoping to launch our NFT minting platform, which will be in before the end of the Q2, because that's also one way to raise funds for startups as well. We do not want to rush into selling tokens, because those tokens, they would be tradable, but you wouldn't get a lot of the value, because the tokens, they would be they're utility tokens, which would be big in the game, meaning a lot of people are going to use the game for tokens for transaction in game, and then that gives more value to it. So hence we're starting with the NFT boxes. For those who don't know what NFT loot boxes are, these are they're like a box that has different NFT assets in them, and also those NFT assets, they are also utility NFTs. So the NFTs will come in different sets and different types. Like we have the players in there, they would hold multiple players that would be able to build a team, and also they'll hold your football stadiums, of which you can sell. They'll hold the players, which you can sell, and they'll also hold a fair amount of in-game tokens as well when the game launch, and then you could unveil those tokens in the game. But the box can also be sold. So what we're doing is we're opening up for 1,000 bucks for a start, and how it works is anyone who owns this box, they would be our founding members, meaning they'll be able to own a percentage of the transaction fee when the game launch. So when the transaction happen in the game, we're going to have like a DAO, which takes a percentage of those transaction fees and then distributes to the NFT holders or the NFT box holders, because they'll also be NFTs. So, and probably if I could play a short video of how our transaction market is going to work, but it's a prototype, like I said, but it's on the testnet of the Stellar blockchain as well. Just see, do I need to?
While you're loading that up, I was curious, the developers you're looking for, you're going to hire them on the team, or they're just going to partner with you for that?
So in terms of the developers, we're looking for developers to join the team, and then they get to be the team members, and they could earn equity and in-game tokens as well. But when we get to a level whereby we could start raising funds for our Series B or Series A, and then we could also start having payments for them, because we are heavily constrained in terms of budget. So 99% of our budget goes into paying our developers that we currently have, which are other companies we're working with. We're working with a gaming studio from the UK here, also working with a blockchain company in Australia that's, like I've said, just built out the system that we're going to work off, and then also I'm just going to stop sharing the screen so I can share a quick video as well.
If you can give like I don't know if a link or the best way for people to contact you, I think I have a few people in mind who might be interested in helping and developing. So if you want to either share it in the chat here in the Telegram group, that'd be good.
Okay, so I can share this document here. So this is a link to our a link to the light paper while we're working on the main technical documentations for the complete game, but this would give them a fair information on what we're building and what it is and how big it is. Now, find the chat. Okay, found it. So in there they could find, and I can also drop my Telegram handle as well. And if anyone wants to know how we're partnering with Stellar, you can also see the Stellar Community Fund, whereby we're listed as one of the grants winners as well. So I'm going to stop sharing the screen and try to share the video if that works. So if anyone here has played Football Manager game, you know, Football Manager game is all about strategy, and what we're building, probably this will be the first place I'm saying this now. It's not just being a Football Manager game, we're building a full metaverse that would be similar to Decentraland. So what this metaverse and how it works is because it's a Football Manager game, and I, as a football manager, I have my team, I have my stadium, and with the game comes with other different kind of assets like a hospital, a parking lot, a youth academy, which you have to own lands, digital lands, to build all those out. So then we're turning it into a metaverse, whereby now users can get into the metaverse and roam from one stadium to another. And if you have these assets, you do not need to play the game, but you can have lands in there or the assets to, so when you own it, you can have digital billboards for other teams to advertise on, and also other blockchain projects as well would want to advertise in our game, because football is the biggest in the world. And what we're trying to do is to get at least 10% of the total market user base out there, which would put us at not less than 20 million users. And if 20 million users are playing a game and you have a land in there, and people want to rent this land to build the stadium or to build a football academy for their team, which improve their gameplay and help them earn even more, it's going to be big. Like I said, big, like we have Decentraland, whereby people roam the stadium and then get to buy stuff in the game, and in the long run as well, having football prediction, whereby people can predict who's going to win the league in the game and can earn tokens. So what we're building is limitless, but we're starting small. But a lot of people would see, oh, it's African based team, they can't do it. But we're actually putting ourselves in a good position that we would be able to do it because of the kind of partnership we're having, like Stellar, for example, and then our game developers who have developed very good games that are already out there. And with all the experience we also got from developing SpaceCatch. I think I also spoke about SpaceCatch here as well when we started developing it, which is also a play-to-earn game. And when they launched at about 10 cents, and it went as high as $4 in terms of the market token value. And now the full complete game is about to launch again. And so this is something we're so passionate about. And in the coming weeks or months, we would then be sharing a more organized full video to see how the game is being structured from one point to another. And I hope a lot of you would also want to support us, not just in terms of funding, but in terms of sharing the ideas with other people and letting them know what a team like this are building to, put us out there to the right audience and crowd. So that's just a bit of what we have today. This is a screen whereby you can mint your players in the blockchain. This is already connected to the Stellar tested blockchain, and we're testing things out. And we have a lot of other videos, but we want to put them all together and make a more detailed video, and then we could put it on our X page. So our X page, I would also put it on the chat. It's Invincible MGR on X. And our community as well, we're growing slow and steady. Have about 600 members on our Discord, over 400 on our X, and we're building little by little. We've made partnership with football influencers with hundreds of thousands of followers. So, and I'm happy to share with people who look like me as well, because I'm so passionate about what we're building, and I like to share. Like I said to John, when he messaged me, if I wanted to come on, I said, yeah, why not? I'm always happy to share what I'm building here. And this is what I have for you guys today. And if anyone has any question, you could ask, and I'll be able to answer whichever it is.
And it's okay if you can share the links, not only in the chat, but if you could also share them in the Telegram group, so that after the meeting, it's still, everybody can find it, all your links too.
Okay, yeah, I can do that.
Very good. All right, thank you so much. Looks like you guys are making a lot of good progress here. So very nice. All right, let's go over to HEXucation. So, Stinker, you here, ready to take over?
Hi, yeah, good afternoon. I'm just trying to turn my camera on, and the camera won't turn on. I'm not sure what's... Oh, I don't know what's happened there. Not a problem, but okay, yeah, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Clifford. I'm 53 years old. I'm of Sierra Leonean heritage. However, as you can tell by my accent, I was born in the UK. I'm holding my phone like as if you guys can see me, but I can see that you can't see me, which is it's a bit weird. But anyway, okay. So yeah, like I was saying, even though I was born in the UK, I'm of Sierra Leonean heritage. I actually am in Ghana, and I've been here for a few years now. So what I will do is I'll tell you a little bit more about myself, and then we can jump in and start talking about HEXucation. Now, as I said, I'm 53 years old, but since I was a small child, I've been very interested in telecommunications. And one of the things about telecommunications is it's something that nowadays everybody partakes in every day, especially Black people. Yeah, because we've got so many friends, family, associates that are all over the world. So we're literally communicating internationally all day, every day. That's exactly what we're doing right now. We're all on this Zoom. I've heard, I've heard obviously USA, UK. I think I've heard France. I think someone's over in Kenya as well. Obviously Nigeria, and I'm sure there's many other countries as well. So telecommunications is a very, very big part of our lives nowadays. And I don't know if you've ever examined the word, but tele basically means long range or a long way away. So when you talk about telecommunication, you're talking about communication that's done over a long distance, or even the word television, long range vision, being able to see something that's a long way away, which is exactly what happens on your TV. You're viewing something that's being filmed or presented, hundreds or thousands of miles away. So, as I said, I've had that interest since I was a small child. And then when I got to the age of about 16, I joined the British Army. And I was in the British Army for about 5 years. And I was a telecommunications operator in the British Army. And obviously, whilst being in the Army, I had to learn the profession, professionally. And it was very, very interesting time that I spent in the Army. I did about 5 years altogether. And I became quite good at my job. So upon leaving the Army, I didn't really know what to do. Being in the Army and coming out of the Army, you're talking about two completely different worlds. Everything is different. So after a couple of years of pretty much doing nothing and just settling into civilian life again, I decided to get into IT, get into computers, which has also been another passion of mine since I was about 11 years old, when my dad got us our first computer. So that was like an obvious choice for me. I got into IT. And whilst being involved in IT, which it's now been almost about 30 years, I progressed from doing user support to PC support to doing server support as well. So I've got a lot of experience in the IT industry. Obviously, having to work with software developers, having to work with obviously management. But because of the type of job I was doing, as in especially the PC support side of things and the user support, I would have to deal with everybody from the cleaners right up to the directors. Because they've all got, they all had computers in their offices. So I would have to deal with all of those people. Very interesting job. Anyway, as the time passed, the internet became more and more popular. At first, obviously, the internet would have been just used by, I think first of all, it was used by the DoD, the American Department of Defense. And then the usage spread to larger businesses. And then from there, it trickles down to the everyday person, what you'd call the consumer or the end consumer, which is pretty much all of us. Yeah. So by that time, I realized, hey, this internet thing, it's going to get big. I think it was Bill Gates that wrote a book saying business thought. And he was basically saying at that time that I think this was, going to try and remember the year. I think it was around 96, 97. He wrote that book around that time. And he pretty much said that if your business isn't on the internet in the next few years, you will be out of business. And I think he was talking about the businesses that were, around or doing well at that time. There's a few that come to mind upon me saying that. Blockbusters. Some of you may remember Blockbuster Video. And that was, for those of you who don't remember it, it was a store where you walked into the shop to hire DVDs and videos, VHS or Betamax videos, whatever you had at the time. And, you'd hire your video, pay a few dollars or a few pounds, and you'd return it after a few days or a week or whatever it was, and you'd maybe hire some more. But that type of business, it depended on what's called footfall, where people have to walk into your store. And because Blockbusters, they didn't catch on to this internet phase that everybody was going through, no more Blockbusters. Now you have companies like Netflix and Amazon Prime and Apple TV, and they cottoned on to what was going on in terms of this internet thing, and they realized that this internet thing holds a lot of potential. So back in, I think it was around 95, because I think I was using Windows 95. And Windows 95 came with, I think it was, maybe it was Netscape Navigator or Internet Explorer. Can't remember exactly which program it came with, but that's how I started using the internet back in 1995. And then from there, it was actually after that that I got into IT more professionally, and that's when I actually studied the technical aspects about how the internet works. And it's, you believe it or not, yeah, what we're able to do right now, just us sitting here, being able to talk on a screen or on a mobile phone or on a laptop or on a desktop, whatever, or on a tablet, whatever type of, or even on a watch, if you've got one of those watches. I'll tell you what, it is a technological miracle. The fact that, like, I'm holding this thing, this little square block in my hand that's made of plastic and glass and metal, and I can talk to, like, how many people's on the call right now? 19 people. I'm able to talk to 19 people all at the same time that are literally all over the world. Like I'm saying, it is a technological miracle that we've got this technology. And it's great that so many people, especially African people or people of African descent or Caribbean descent, whatever you want to say, that we've actually taken this on and realizing how useful it is, and how additionally how much money can be made from it as well. Sorry, someone's shouting outside my window. Yes, so that's what I did. I started to study it a lot more professionally. And then I realized something. I thought, hold on a minute. Here I am. And this, some of you may want to bear this in mind quite closely if it applies to you. I thought to myself, here I am working for a company in the UK, working for a company. And the thing about working for a company is the company decides how much money you can or will earn. And I don't like being told what I can earn. So I started looking into what they call multiple streams of income. And at that time, I realized that, okay, the internet could be a great way to make money. So I remember the first website, oh, if I didn't say it as well, I'm a website designer as well. And so the first thing I did, or the first website I built, was back in 1999. And it was a website called highstreetbankaccounts.co.uk. And basically it was just showing people who had bad credit how to open a bank account. And believe it or not, people were willing to pay for that information. So anyway, that thus began my journey as a website designer and an internet marketer, shall we say. So that's what I did. Okay. Now, then round about 2017, actually 2014, someone was telling me about this weird thing called cryptocurrency. This weird thing called Bitcoin. I had no understanding of it whatsoever. And so the guy said to me, every day at work, the guy was saying to me, go and buy Bitcoin, go and buy Bitcoin. I was like, what are you talking about? And there wasn't that much information or that much understandable information around in 2014. So anyway, I managed to find the Bitcoin light paper, or white paper it was called, and I downloaded it and I said, right, okay, this guy's been bugging me about this so much, I'm going to go home and read it. And I remember exactly what happened. I went home with this Bitcoin white paper, and I remember exactly what happened. I started reading it and I thought to myself, oh, this is really, really technical. Let me get a little bit of sleep and I'll read it later. I think the next time I woke up, it was probably time for me to go back to work, to get up and go to work. And I didn't pick up that white paper again. And then in 2017, when I was doing a course with a man named Dr. Boyce Watkins, who some of you may have heard of, I was studying a stock market course with him. And he kept on talking about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin. And I thought, okay, well, these things sound interesting. And what was interesting at the time was the stocks and shares were quite expensive, but the cryptocurrency appeared to be, if my memory serves me correctly, the cryptocurrencies at that time were more affordable. So I thought, okay, well, the stocks and shares were a bit pricey for me at that time. Let me take a look at the cryptocurrencies. So between about June 2017 and maybe October 2017, I ended up buying a lot of different cryptocurrencies, a little bit of Bitcoin, a bit of Ethereum, a bit of Dash, a bit of Litecoin, a bit of BNB, lots and lots of different ones, loads of them, and including XRP. And then, as some of you may remember, around February or January, between December and February of 2000 and December 2017, leading up to about February 2018, XRP, Bitcoin, all of the cryptos, they all exploded. They did so well that many of the cryptocurrency exchanges prevented people. I'm going to touch on this later as well. Cryptocurrency exchanges prevented people from withdrawing. Yeah. And that is something that you need to bear in mind. When you have a lot of money on a cryptocurrency exchange, there's a saying, not your keys, not your crypto. You have to be aware of that. If you have large sums of funds on a cryptocurrency exchange, and for whatever reason, the cryptocurrency exchange decides that, they aren't releasing people's funds, or an authority instructs the cryptocurrency exchange not to give you your funds, you've got a major problem. Yeah. So that is definitely something to bear in mind. So after that, I made a fair amount of money, in the early 2018. And then I kind of, as crypto was just going up, down, up, down, up, down, I was like, oh, I can't handle this. So I kind of stepped away from it a little bit. Anyway, in 2002, Isaac, can you bring up the slide, please? The first one. Thank you. So in 2002, I had been, I don't want to use the word victim. I had been, and I don't want to use the word part of, I'll put it like this, I'll say it diplomatically. As happened to many other people, I ended up getting scammed by a couple of cryptocurrency projects. One was called Hyperverse and one was called CashFX. Yeah, there's hundreds of crypto scams out there. Those are just two that I'm going to speak about today. Now, what happened with those cryptocurrency projects or crypto projects, they basically told people that they had all these massive businesses. They were doing cryptocurrency trading. They were doing Forex trading, as in foreign exchange trading. And they were making all this money, and we should put our money with them to make their earnings so much bigger. And then we would enjoy a really, really healthy profit. And what did they do? They welcomed our Ethereum, they welcomed our Bitcoin, they welcomed our USDT, our USDC, our BNB. And then, and to be fair, well, you can't be fair with people like that, because it was just a scam, as it turned out. They talked a good talk and they walked a good walk. But at the end of the day, they were just scammers, because what they had on the front end of their setup, they had really, really attractive websites. Their marketing material, their marketing videos, exquisite. It was like, wow, this is a dream come true. And the way their scams worked, the way they lured people in and kept them there, is they were paying 0.5%. I think it worked out to be 0.5% per day. Now, that may not sound a lot, but if you think of it from this perspective, if you've got a pound, well, 0.5% is half of 1p or half of 1 cent. Yeah. But if you've got £100 in your account, well, now you're talking about 50 cents a day. If you've got 1,000, hold on, is that right? Yeah, if you've got $1,000 in your account, well, that's $5 a day, I think. Yeah, I think it's $5 a day. Yeah. If you've got $10,000 in your account, okay, that's times 10. That's $50 a day. So what everybody who was involved in those scams was doing was basically leaving as much money as they could on the platform, which is what John was advising earlier on not to do. Always keep taking your profits on a regular basis so you don't lose everything. However, what many of us did is we left our funds on the platform. You can call it greed, you can call it naivety, call it whatever you want, but we left our funds on the platform. And the unfortunate problem with that is when they did a rug pull, or basically they just did a runner, they went away and closed down the platform, they went with everybody's money. Now we're literally, if you Google a man called Sam Lee and Hyperverse or Hyperfund, you will see that the amount that they got away with is somewhere in the region of about $1.7 to $1.9 billion. It was huge. I think at the time of them closing or collapsing, however you want to put it, they had, I think, somewhere in the region of 1 million members globally. And yeah, it was a huge letdown. For some people, the letdown was fatal. I won't go into that, but it caused a lot of upset around the world. It was very far from funny. So anyway, that happened around about, I think it was about 2020, 2021. Even myself, it put me in quite a very awkward situation financially. So I decided, I said, you know what, I've had enough of this scam crap. I'm not going through it anymore. I've had enough of being scammed. So what I did, I said, okay, there's a lot of people out there that need an income, but the reason they were scammed is they don't understand blockchain properly. They don't understand crypto properly. So what I did, I spent a lot of time bringing myself up to speed as much as possible so that I could educate others. Can everyone hear me, by the way?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear.
Lovely, thank you.
Yes.
Isaac, just jump onto the website for a moment, and as in the HEXucation.org website. Thank you. So what I did in 2022, I'm a website designer, like I said. I designed a website called HEXucation.com. Hex from a cryptocurrency on Pulse chain called Hex, and Ucation from the word education. And I just came up with the name HEXucation. Hex and education, HEXucation. Now, the aim of the original platform was, as I said, to educate people so they wouldn't get scammed. But because I was aware that there were so many people that were involved in affiliate marketing or MLM at that, or network marketing at that time, I decided to, sorry, my son's just gone in the room. I decided to add an element into the platform of affiliate marketing. So what I did, I built into it a 5-tier affiliate marketing system. So if people referred other people to the education, then they would receive some kind of reward for it. Okay. Now, what happened next was, I thought to myself, hold on a minute. I'm here selling and offering cryptocurrency education, and it's all about DeFi, decentralized finance, and we're taking payments through PayPal. I thought that's a bit of a contradiction. In fact, no, that's a huge contradiction. Talking about DeFi and taking payments through PayPal. And as you all know, PayPal are notorious for cutting off people's payments. And sometimes, as far as I'm aware, they don't even give you a proper reason. They just freeze your account, and there's nothing you can do about it. So I thought, no, I need to up my game. So back around about November 2023, I started to raise funds to turn the original platform, which was a Web 2 platform, into a Web 3 platform. The basic difference between Web 2 and Web 3 is Web 2 needs passwords and logins in order to access an account. Sorry, just had to get my children to leave the room. And Web 3, it requires access through a cryptocurrency wallet. Now, all that means is you connect your wallet to the website, and the website detects, not just our website, but any Web3 website, it will detect your wallet address, and it will give you the appropriate rights that you're meant to have with that particular wallet address. Okay? So that's how this setup works. So what we did, as I said, we turned it from being Web 2, where you need to use passwords and usernames or email addresses. We made it totally decentralized, meaning we don't even know who half our customers are. It's total DeFi. So what happens is, Isaac, if you can just click on Open App at the, yes. Right, sorry, we're just doing a little bit of upgrading on our information page. That's why it looks like that. I'm not sure what, sorry, because you haven't got a wallet connected, I'm not sure what you're going to be able to see. Okay, if you can click on maybe, let's click on buy your beginner course, for example, over on the left. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, okay. So there we go. As I said, it's Web 3. So people are able to buy their courses anytime, night or day. They don't need to talk to any support staff or anything like that. They just go to the website and they buy their courses. Okay. So what I'm going to do now, I just wanted to show you the website real quick. And if you want to, while I'm talking, if you go to HEXucation.org, I don't know, in fact, let me just type it in to the link. So I'm just typing it into there. I think I've typed it in. Right, if you want to use that link, you can go and have a quick look at the website while I'm talking away, if you want to, entirely up to you. Okay, Isaac, thank you. Please, could you go on to the second slide? Thanks. The reason Isaac is doing the slides for me is because my internet connection isn't always good, and it uses more bandwidth if I'm transmitting from my computer. So much appreciation to Isaac for helping me with the slides today. Right, so I've got them on my computer also. Right, so what I'll do now, I'll just tell you more about what HEXucation does on a bit of a technical level, but I won't go in too deep on the technicalities of it. It's, as I was saying before, I was saying this about internet. Internet is wildly complicated, yeah? Trust me, the internet is the way the internet works. Like me, I think extraterrestrials are real, yeah? I think that the technology that we have for the internet, I'm not so sure it's humans that thought of it. I'll leave it at that, yeah? As some of you may know, the DOD, or the American Department of Defense, some of their technology is, shall we say, otherworldly. But anyway, we'll leave that conversation for another day. So, but that's the internet. The blockchain is, I'll tell you what, yeah, the blockchain, as far as I'm concerned, the blockchain, it's another miracle. I don't know why they ever stopped. They stopped at the wonders of the world when they got to number 7. No, maybe there's a reason for that. But, you know, they have the 7 wonders of the world. I think Einstein said compound interest is the 8th wonder of the world. Personally, I would say the internet and the blockchain have got to be the 9th wonder of the world. Absolutely. I tell you that the things that these technologies have opened up to everybody, and that's the thing about it. It's opened up the myriad of things that it's opened up. Yeah. Oh, obviously AI. I'm gonna add AI onto that as well. Even though I'm not going to touch on AI at all today. I'll group those 3 things together: the internet, blockchain, and AI. Those 3 things, as far as I'm concerned, they're the 9th wonder of the world. They're fantastic creations. Now, obviously, as far I've got a little saying: the internet, the blockchain, the AI, they are what I call great levelers, meaning that the things that a huge multi-billion-dollar corporation can do, you can now do in the comfort of your own home. You can make miraculous things while you're sat in your house. Yeah. Look at this presentation. This is this software. It's called Gamma, and John kindly introduced me to it. I'm like, I am. I'm a really simple guy, by the way. I do complex stuff, but I'm a really simple guy. Like it's like they say, simple things please simple minds. I look at the graphics. These graphics that are done on this slide, yeah, it's all done by AI. I didn't make them graphics. It's all done by AI. Yeah, and I'm fascinated by that. Yeah, that's just me. Anyway, as the slide says, transforming blockchain-based MLM with HEXucation. I don't always like using that word MLM because it's got a lot of negative connotations attached to it, like scams and pyramid schemes and that kind of stuff. So you can call it MLM, multi-level marketing, you can call it network marketing, you can call it affiliate marketing, whatever floats your boat, yeah? But ultimately, HEXucation, it's not just about MLM or network marketing. That's not what it exists for. HEXucation exists to educate people about the blockchain and cryptocurrencies, especially DeFi, decentralized finance. And there's a massive reason for that. Main reason being, I don't know if you're aware, but central bank digital currencies are soon going to be in all of our pockets. And the problem with central bank digital currencies, also known as CBDCs, is they are what's called programmable currency. Programmable currency is a problem because the guy at the other end of the programmable currency that's in your pocket, or on, to be specific, on your phone or on your computer or in your wallet, as in your cryptocurrency wallet, they can control when you spend your money, where you spend your money, with whom you can spend your money, and on what you can spend your money. Now, that may not seem like a big issue to people, but if you remember COVID, when they put lots of people around the world under a lockdown, well, the CBDCs would complement lockdowns perfectly. Oh yeah, go out your house, you can't spend no money. Okay, we've told you you've got to stay within 15 minutes of your house. Okay, well, now you're 15 minutes away from your house. The system can do a thing called, many computer systems can do a thing called geofencing, where if you step outside of that radius, yeah, let's say a 15-minute radius or 2-mile radius, whatever you want to call it, your wallet will stop working. They can, your doctor can, I'm not even going to go into the medical side of, basically they can control what you eat. They can control where you shop. There's a lot of control mechanisms that are built into central bank digital currencies that they're just not telling you about. Anyway, so HEXucation, as it says, discover how HEXucation blends blockchain, education, and income generation for a fairer, transparent ecosystem. Next slide, please, Isaac. Thank you. Okay, so what is HEXucation? Right, first of all, it's earn while you learn. Yeah, a lot of people, they're not interested in earning like, you know, through MLM or affiliate marketing or network marketing. They just want to learn about blockchain. They just want to learn about blockchain and cryptocurrency technologies. They just want to learn. You know, they're happy in their job, or they're happy, you know, doing their trading, or they're hodling and buying and holding their crypto. They're happy doing that. They don't want to do no MLM stuff. Fine. Well, we cater for that. Yeah, just our courses actually start at $1.10 for the beginner course. There's 3 levels. There's the beginner, which it begins at $1.10. Then we got the intermediate, which is $11. Then we got the advanced, which is $55. And you can earn rewards. And the way you earn rewards is quite simply by introducing people. We've got a really, really nice little setup for the payments or rewards system on that. But it's up to you. No one's obliged to introduce others. It's just something that we put in there because we know there's a lot of people out there, number one, who enjoy doing network marketing, and there's, as is happening now because of the global economic situation, some people now need extra money. So we've made it suitable for anyone who wants to do it. Innovative ecosystem, combining smart contracts, community empowerment, and financial growth. Right, the platform, I kid you not, yeah, it was expensive to build. I think we ended up, the total bill came to approximately, I think by the time the developer had done everything, I think the total bill was about $164,000 to get the whole platform built. It was expensive. The reason it was expensive is because, and please, I'm inviting you, I'm going to make a claim, and I'm inviting you to test my claim. This is the world's first blockchain-based education system in the world that pays rewards. Yeah? Through smart contracts. It's the first one in the world. Like I said, I'm making that claim, please, and I'm asking you, I'm actually asking you to do this for me, because I've not been able to find one that does this. I've not been able to find a website that does exactly what HEXucation does. That's why it says innovative. Yeah, as far as I'm aware, it's the only one in the world that does what this website does. Okay, next slide, please, Isaac. And yeah, when it says community empowerment, because what we've done, there were about 300 people in total that got together to pay for everything to have the platform set up. And, you know, we formed quite a tight community. Yeah, it started off with about 300 people. It's grown a bit, not hugely, but it has grown as well. Yeah. Right, okay, so what does HEXucation address? What are some of the challenges in traditional MLM? And it's not just MLM, it's kind of, some of these statements appeal to, pertain to other things as well. Lack of transparency, yeah? Reward distribution often unclear and unfair to new participants. Well, yeah, that is very true in MLM, multi-level marketing, but if you think about that in the workplace, the everyday workplace, reward distribution, unclear, unfair. I don't know if you're aware that, you know, previously, I don't know how it is in the place where you work now, but previously, you'd have a job, and that job would come with a specific salary for that job. What's happening quite a lot now is when people go for their interviews, they're negotiating their salaries. So it's not uncommon now for some workplaces to tell people you are not allowed to discuss your salary at work. Well, okay. And the reason for that is because you may be earning, I don't know, $30,000, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, $100,000 a year, but the guy next to you might be earning 25% more or 25% less, because it's not always fair. It's, you know, which is what that particular little block is talking about. Lack of transparency. Companies are in business to make money for themselves, not you. Yeah, I'm trying to be respectful and diplomatic when I say this, but business is business, as they always say. You know, the company exists for its growth. A company exists to put money in the pockets of its shareholders. It has been said, I don't know how true it is, but it's been said that when you work for a company, they're paying you approximately a third of what you earn for them. Yes, if you kind of view it like that, it helps to bring things into perspective. This is why I think John was speaking about it, or Isaac was speaking about it before. It's important to, if you're in a normal 9 to 5, yeah, it's really important to try and supplement your income. Even if you've got a good income, supplement it by doing something else, because you never know what the future holds. Look at AI. AI, trust me, AI is going to take people's jobs. The things, even like I'm working on a blockchain project at the moment, yeah, and I've been using AI to do it. And I got a quote from a developer, and the developer's telling me about $2,500 to $4,000 to create this project. And I'm not a developer, by the way. I'm not a programmer. I know very little bit about code. I can read code, but I can't code myself. I can tweak code. Yeah, I can like make tiny little changes here and there if I understand what I'm reading. And I'm thinking, hold on a minute. Well, this guy, he's not getting my $4,000 because I'm going to write it myself. And that's what I'm doing. I'm writing a JavaScript program that works with the blockchain. And that will basically, me doing it with the AI will save me $4,000. Well, that's $4,000 that stays in my pocket and $4,000 that doesn't go to the guy who's meant to do the job. Yeah, so one thing I will say about AI is you need to look into AI. Go and look at a little bit of word of advice. Go and look at your job and just ask ChatGPT or ask Grok or Claude or whichever AI. Ask it, how can I use AI to enhance my job? Yeah, or to make my job easier or to make my job better. Ask it. You will be surprised at the answers. And here's one of the things I said to one of my friends recently. I said to him, because he's currently doing a course at university, and I said to him, you need to find out how AI can help you in your job when you leave uni and go and get a job. And he said, why? And I said, because if you don't, the other people who do learn the AI, they're going to be more preferable in front of the employer than you, because they can do the job that you can equally as well, but they will have the enhanced capabilities that AI can give them. So that's that. All right, back to this slide. Sustainability risks. Okay, many MLMs fail without lasting income, benefits, or trust. Okay, we use, as I said before, we use smart contracts. Now, what we had to do, smart contracts, to me, it's like, again, that's another technology that's obviously very closely linked to the blockchain, but it's smart contracts. They're another world, man. I tell you, the smart contracts are phenomenal. They're the use cases. Whenever you got some time, go and ask an AI or ask Google, whatever you want to use. Ask it for what are some of the use cases for smart contracts. You'll be surprised. It's not just blockchain things anymore. It's to do with real goods, products, services that can now be controlled to an extent through smart contracts and blockchain technology. All right, next slide, please, Isaac. You guys may have to let me know about the time, yeah?
At the top of
Oops.
the hour right now, but you can continue. And anybody who needs to drop, that's no problem. We're recording it, but we'll keep going here. So I'm not sure how much more time you need, but that's okay.
Okay. I'm not sure. I think there's only about 5 more slides, but I'll step it up a little bit. Okay. And I was just talking about this, the power of smart contracts, self-executing code. It can automate transactions based on coded rules without intermediaries. Okay, when you walk into your bank and you want to withdraw some money, banking is a really interesting topic. Did you know that when you put your money in a bank, you're not making a deposit to the bank, you are making a loan to the bank, which is why the bank can now tell you what you can and cannot do with your money, or what you thought was your money. No, you made a loan, it's now theirs. Yeah, and this is why the banks are so, I don't know about the States, but in the UK now, flipping heck, they're really challenging people when they want to withdraw their own money, or what they thought was their own money. They're asking for proof, they're asking for documentation, they're asking for all kinds of weird things that they never used to ask for in the past, just so people can access their own, what they think is their own money in their bank account. Yeah. Smart contracts, what they do is they basically cut out middlemen. They in essence, they can cut out lawyers, they can cut out banks, they can cut out, there's so many different things. I don't actually have a list of use cases in front of me, but it's really worth looking into the usefulness of smart contracts. Unless you're a blockchain developer or you've got a passion for learning with AI, you'll probably never create a smart contract, but it's definitely worth finding out what they do. Reason being, you're going to interact with a lot of them in the future. Almost everything will be managed. I'll tone that down a bit. A lot of things will be managed by smart contracts going forward in the future. Even things like voting. Yeah, so many things, buying and selling houses. Getting a new smartphone or a airtime contract. Smart contracts. There's tons and tons of different use cases. And why is that? Because they're immutable. That needs a bit of clarification. They can be made immutable and they are secure. Yeah. Immutable basically means that once that smart contract has been uploaded to the blockchain, first of all, everyone can see it and everyone can see the transactions that are transacting on it or that are being conducted on it, and it can't be changed. No human can go in there and change the details of the smart contract. It's up there and it stays up there. As long as that blockchain is up there, it stays there forever. Okay? And they're secure. As long as the smart contract is written well and it's been audited, which is what we had to do with our smart contracts, get them audited. And basically a smart contract audit, it's a third party. So there's you, the first party, there's your developer, the second party, and the audit is a third party that comes in independently and examines all the work that the developer did to ensure, number one, that he's done it the way you wanted it done. Number two is to ensure that there's no money leaks, if it's a financial smart contract, which they usually are. Yeah, to make sure there's no money leaks and sometimes the business logic or the financial flow of the smart contracts works correctly. And thirdly, that the developer has not written in any back doors, allowing himself in at a later date to drain the smart contract of all the funds that it is holding. Yeah, smart contracts are very, very intricate things. If a smart contract is written incorrectly, it can end up locking your funds in there forever. So that's why it's really important to get them audited. Transparent transactions. As I'm sure most of you will know by now, any transactions you do to do with Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Aave, I don't know, Pulse Chain, Hex, whatever, they're done on what are called public blockchains. So everybody can see the transactions, which is why it's really important to as best you can, whenever possible, never associate your name or any personal details with a blockchain address, wallet address, yeah? Because people will say it's because remember, everyone can see everything that's in that wallet. They can see how much Bitcoin you got, they can see how much Ethereum, how much Solana, and there's a multitude of different types of attacks. One of them is called a wrench attack. Does anyone know what a wrench attack is? Okay. A wrench attack is when someone turns up on your front door holding a wrench and they're going to whack you with it. Yeah, that's what, and I'm being serious. That's what it's basically, it basically means you being physically attacked because someone knows you are holding crypto or a decent amount of crypto. They found out and they choose to threaten you, physical harm or otherwise, or a member of your family or your kitty cat or your puppy, whatever, with physical harm if you don't hand over your seed phrase and your private key. So as best you can, never associate yourself with any crypto wallets that have decent amount of funds in there. Okay, next slide, please. Thank you. Okay, HEXucation's reward system. As I said, HEXucation is primarily an education platform. However, we know people like to make money. And if you don't like to make money, okay, fair enough. So what we have is when people buy a course, the person who did the referral, they receive a 7% or 3% instant commission. The courses are paid for using stable coins, USD stable coins such as DAI, USDC, or USDT. And as soon as a course is paid for, literally instantly, bam, split second, as soon as they've paid for the course, you get your 7% or 3% sent to your wallet immediately in the currency that they paid in. Okay? Then we have weekly payouts. 64% of the total weekly income is distributed among active students equitably. Hold on, I'm not sure if that's 100% correct. Let me think about that, 64%. Yeah, basically, 64% of all the income, it's divided up based on how well each affiliate student that's decided to become an affiliate, how well they've, how many people they've introduced or whatever. That's how the weekly payouts work out. Now, what we've done is we use a system called HEX. Now, a lot of people would disagree with this, but I'm going to say this anyway. HEX has got advantages. Right now, price is not one of them. Yeah, trust me, price is not one of them. HEX is like about under a penny, which could be a very good thing. We'll get onto that in a moment. HEX is extremely cheap, but HEX has got, since the day it was created, it's got a staking protocol that's connected to it, which allows you to stake for up to 15 years. The maker of HEX, his name's Richard Hart, and he has basically said HEX is the first blockchain-based certificate of deposit in the world. And basically what it does is you can look up your HEX, right, for up to 15 years, and you can receive up to 38% per year on your HEX, which is nice. I'm all right with that. Yeah. So that's what that is. So anyway, what we do is in HEXucation, all of the student rewards for a whole week. So you actually get paid. You actually receive your money in arrears. 1 week it's actually 8 days, up to 8 days in arrears. The reason for that is because what we do is when the funds come in, we stake all the funds for 1 week. And it's been really good, actually. Some weeks, like people have received up to an extra 10% in 1 week on their earnings. So it's worked very well so far. Okay, next slide, please. Thank you. Yes, so here's a quick overview of the learning journey. Right, so you start off at the beginner level, and basically we will teach you the basics of blockchain. Now, I actually wrote all the courses. There's about, well, yeah, I wrote all the modules, I should say. There's around about 30 modules, and I wrote them all. And a lot of people have said to me, "Oh, Cliff, can I just start off with the intermediate?" And I say, "Well, you may want to take a look at the beginner first." And they're like, "Oh God," you know. Sometimes people don't like to study, you know. They like to take shortcuts. So, but you know, quite often people do listen to what I say, and they go back and they, you know, or they start at the beginner level, and they always say the same thing. They go, "Clifford, you know what?" They begin to realise there was so much they did not know. Because what we do is, or what I wrote the courses to do is, and I realised something a long time ago, we don't understand money. If we understood money, we'd all be rich. And if you're not rich, it's because you don't understand money. Simple. We've all been alive. I'm 53, so I've been alive 53 years here, and I don't fully understand money. That's why I'm not extremely rich, but I'm getting there. Yeah, so that's what I did. I designed the course, especially the beginner course, so it doesn't, the first part of it, it's not even about crypto or blockchain. It's about money. It teaches you about the history of money. It teaches you how money works. And I know a lot of us, we're very kind of, oh, I know that stuff. I know how money works. How could I not know? I'm 50, I'm 40, I'm 45, I'm 60 years old. How could I not know? Okay, well, I'd invite everybody. Just go and just when you've got some time or when you're ready to pay your $1.10, just go and do just the first module. And then you'll understand how little we actually know about money. Yeah, and like I keep saying it, if we all knew about money, we wouldn't be on this. We probably wouldn't be on this call right now. Yeah, we'd be off in flipping Marbella or some Monte Carlo or some exclusive hotel somewhere. That's why we're here, because we want to earn better. We want a better understanding of digital finance and traditional finance. You can't have one without the other. As long as traditional finance is around, it will go hand in hand and have a controlling oversight of crypto, as long as it's around. Yeah. Okay, so that's the beginner level. Next, we have the intermediate level, where we start talking about altcoins, what exchanges are. Are exchanges a good idea? Because not everyone realizes you've got two types of exchanges. You've got the type that are called centralized exchanges, or for want of a better expression, CEX or SEX. And you've got the other type, which is called a DEX, a decentralized exchange. The difference being, with a centralized exchange, they have to adhere to rules and regulations laid out by governments because they're companies. Decentralized exchanges, you just go and connect your cryptocurrency wallet to it. No KYC, no nothing. You just connect your wallet to it. You do your transaction, you swap your currency, off you go. Disconnect from the exchange, off you go. Yeah. There's no rules, regulations, so which does introduce an element of risk. But the ones that are personally the ones that I use, I've never had any issues with them. But that's another story. Okay, so that's what the intermediate level does. You know, blockchain and cryptocurrency. There's the word I was looking for earlier. I think most of us, myself included, to an extent, we're quite complacent. We think, oh, I know this, I know that. Yeah, I know all about that. And I'm like, okay, do you? Okay, do you? Okay, now go and have a conversation with AI about that. Because the AI, I'm guarantee you, the AI will teach you something about whatever it is, because the AI knows more than you do. In other words, there's always room to learn more. I won't say room for improvement, but there's always room to learn more. Take the opportunity. This blockchain thing that's been around for what, 17 years now? 16 years? We're at the spear tip of it. Yeah. This thing is here forever now. It's not going away. In fact, this blockchain and cryptocurrency stuff, it's going to replace, or it is replacing traditional finance. That is out the window. It's going to take years for it to go. May take another 15, 20 years. I don't know. May take 5 years. They may do something that they say, no, we you know, the markets have crashed. We need to emergency switch over to cryptocurrency and CBDCs. Right. There's lots of different ways they can do things. Okay, advanced level. Okay, gain expert knowledge for about, oh, I wrote that bit wrong, didn't I? That should say gain expert knowledge about specific cryptocurrencies. I'm heavily into Pulse Chain. Yeah, I like Bitcoin. I like Ethereum. Not a huge fan of Solana, but it's okay. I hold a bit of Solana. But I'm heavily into Pulse Chain. Why? Because as far as I'm concerned, Pulse Chain is the most undervalued blockchain around. Highly undervalued, seriously undervalued, massively undervalued. You may want to go and take a look at it. That's what I'll say. I'm not telling you what to buy. You may want to go and take a look at it and some of the tokens on Pulse Chain. Okay, next slide, please. Thank you. Okay, trust. Is HEXucation a Ponzi scheme? Well, you know, we do, whenever you hear about MLM and affiliate marketing, network marketing, yeah, it must be a Ponzi, right? Well, no. The silly thing is, most people don't even know what a Ponzi scheme is. It's just like a buzzword. It's something that we all tend to say when we say, "Oh, it's a scam, it's a Ponzi." Well, whenever someone says to me, "That looks like a Ponzi," I'm like, "Okay, tell me what a Ponzi is, please." And they're like, "It's a scam, innit? It's a pyramid system, innit?" And I'm like, "No, it's not." I won't go into what a Ponzi is specifically right now, but do a bit of research into the, I'll call him the founder of Ponzi schemes, Charles Ponzi. If you spend like 10 minutes reading about what Charles Ponzi did, you'll understand that most of the things that people call Ponzis aren't Ponzis. They're just not. Yeah. They may be illegal pyramids or whatever, but they're not Ponzi schemes. So is HEXucation a Ponzi scheme? No, it's not. And what makes it not a Ponzi scheme is 2 or 3 things. First of all of our transactions are transparent. You can see all the transactions on the blockchain. And the transactions take place within verified, sorry, they're not verified, they're audited. I need to change that word as well. They're not verified, they're audited smart contracts. Secondly, we're selling a product. You're not buying a financial opportunity. You're not buying an opportunity to make money, which is what constitutes a Ponzi in actuality. You're buying a product. You bought education. The same way how you go to university, go to college, go to school, whatever, and you buy your course, you have to pay for your course fees. That's what you bought from HEXucation. That's why it's not a Ponzi. You bought a course. The affiliate marketing side of it, well, that's optional. You do it if you want to, don't do it if you don't want to. Okay. So yeah, we have a public ledger. Well, obviously the blockchain is our public ledger. And no guaranteed returns. Yeah, it's that we don't say, yeah, if you buy your $1.10 course, you will earn this. No, it says it clearly in the white paper. You will earn whatever is equivalent to the effort you put in if you decide to sell the courses yourself, which no one's obliged to. Okay, next slide, please, Isaac. Okay, global reach and partnerships. Yeah, basically, we are now in, I think, about 34 different countries, which isn't bad, seeing as we only launched our Web3 version last August. Yeah. So it's been up and running, what, 8 months now, I think, since last August. And yeah, we're in 34 different countries, literally. I'm not going to name them all, but from the USA to literally the Highlands of Scotland to South Africa, all the way over to Auckland, and also got some members in New Zealand as well. Obviously Ghana. Yeah, we're Europe. I'm pretty sure we are on every continent. Oh, Canada as well, and South America, because we've got someone in Mexico or some people in Mexico. So we're literally on every continent. multilingual courses. What we've done is on the website, we've maybe you can jump onto the website for a moment, Isaac. On the home page, what we've done is, if you click on the little icon, the HEXucation icon top left, it should take you back. Yeah. If you scroll down a little bit, there you go. Just there where the flags are. That's fine. Just go back up a bit. Go back up a bit. There you go, where the flags are. Yeah. So what we've done is the easiest way for us to make the website 100% fully translatable was to tell people, go and use Google Translate. So what happens is, if you click on that, well, you don't have to do it now, Isaac, but if people were to click on the Google Translate button, you can do it if you want to, it's up to you. If people were to click on that install Google Translate button, what it does, it installs Google Translate into your browser, and then you can select from, I think it's about 130, 150 different languages. Yeah. And that way it makes the whole website totally translated to a myriad of languages. Okay. Right. So apart from that, we do weekly live sessions. I lead most of them. We normally have sessions on a Monday and a Thursday, and they're usually 7 p.m. UTC. I don't know what time that would be in your countries, but UK it's probably about 8 p.m. I don't know for other countries. So yeah, we have plenty of interaction where, you know, over the several few months that we've been together, we're like a little, I won't say a little family. We're definitely a little community where, you know, people have got to know each other. It's funny. I travelled 10 hours from where I live down to Accra the other day to meet two people that I've met through HEXucation. And it was a lot of fun. We had a really good time, you know. So it is helping us, and I think this is what both John and Isaac are all about. You know, forming partnerships, forming alliances, building communities. So that's what we're doing. We're literally building a community. But one of our differences is our community building is based on education. Yeah, it's all about education. That's our core, and community support. So yeah, you know, whenever people need assistance, we're on hand. You wouldn't believe it. I talk to people every day about HEXucation, but always contacting me about it because they need help with their wallet, they need help with buying a course, they need help understanding a particular thing. One of our best, I call her probably our best students. It's a lady, she lives in the UK and she's 86 years old. Right? We've been teaching her for about a year. If you see her portfolio now, wow, she's got quite an extensive crypto portfolio. She's 86. Earlier on today, I was, obviously, because she's quite sensible, because she's 86, I was doing a Google Meet session with her and her granddaughter, because obviously she's going to pass away one day. So she wanted me to help her educate her granddaughter about how the staking system works, how she should manage her private keys and seed phrases for her wallets. Yeah. Just a quick tip, a quick touch on that. Remember, you're earning your crypto, so obviously you can have a beautiful life today, but you also want your great grandchildren to be doing very well from your crypto as well. So you may want to consider setting up some kind of will or trust or something, so when you've decided you don't want to be on planet Earth anymore, you can pass on your crypto in a safe way to your descendants. Okay. Next slide, please, Isaac.
I think we'll try about 12:30 or 5:30 UK to wrap up. So probably about another 5 minutes. So
yeah, I think we're just about done. Anyway, look at that, perfect timing. The last slide. That is the last slide. So, yep. Yeah, there we are. So that is actually the end of the presentation. So yeah, what's HEXucation about? You know, learning about cryptocurrency, blockchain education at an affordable price, $1.10. We deliberately made it that way. And as it says there, you can earn and grow at the same time. You're earning, you're growing in knowledge if you want to do that. And shape the future. You know, as John and Isaac have said to you many times already in your previous sessions, blockchain and cryptocurrency is the future. It's the future of finance. And you're going to hear that more and more. And there you go. If you want to contact me about anything, there are my details. Just put up your phone, scan the QR code, and you better contact me through WhatsApp. Okay? Are there any questions? I don't know if you've got time to deal with a few questions.
And we can take one or two questions.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions about anything?
If you've got any questions, unmute. I just got a quick question. So how does this compare to any other platforms that offer free academies? Like, let's say, for example, Binance Academy offers similar sort of courses on the blockchain and everything else. How does this differ?
Okay, ours are structured. I've had to look at a lot of different courses on a lot of different platforms. So what I did, I actually went and looked at university curriculums in order to create the structure of how the courses would flow. Yeah, this is what I was saying earlier. We take people from, we don't even deal with Bitcoin. Well, the first part of the first module, it deals with what is money. Binance doesn't teach that. Yeah, because people, and the reason we do that is because we feel people need to know that. You need, in order to know about the future of finance, you need to know about finance today. So yeah, in a comparison, I would say that from what I've seen, ours are more structured. Yeah, and also we give live support. I'm available to people to contact me. Some of the other tutors, they're available for people to contact them. Yeah, I don't know if you can do that with Binance. We're available. We can do Zooms. We can do screen shares. We can sit down with you for 3 minutes or 30 minutes or 3 hours if you want, if you need us to. We can do that.
Brilliant, thank you. Just one quick question for me, just because of time. What is the cost of the highest package course or module, and how long does each module usually take?
Right. The length of time a course module takes is dependent on you. The first module, I think the total amount of time it takes is about 7 hours. The very first module out of the 30. Some of the others, you may do them in about 30, 45 minutes. Yeah. But the first one, I really wanted people to understand how the world works in terms of finance. So the reason it lasts so long is because there's a couple of videos in there that are long. One of the videos is actually about 3.5 hours long. Yeah. So that's that. Right. Now, in terms of the cost of the costs, I'll just give you the basic costs. Yeah. There's the beginner, the price is $1.10. The intermediate, it's $11. The advanced is $55. They're separate courses. If you buy the intermediate, it doesn't automatically give you the beginner. And if you buy the advanced, it doesn't automatically give you the intermediate and beginner. They're 3 separate courses, yeah? So I'll just say, for now, I'll just say $1.10, $11 for the intermediate, $55 for the advanced. But the price can go up, but that's due to the way that the affiliate marketing side of it works. Yeah. But if you're just coming on to buy the courses, well, those are the prices: $1.10, $11, and $55.
Thank you.
And I think that's it for questions. So thanks everyone for coming out. Clifford, thanks for presenting and all of our presenters. And we will see you guys in the upcoming month here for our next meetup. And great having everyone. Have a great rest of your Saturday.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Have a good day, everyone.
Right.
Yep.
Take care.
So, someone was asking about the name of the website. It's HEXucation.org.
If you want to put that in the Telegram group, that'd be great. Put all the details there as well.
Thank you very much, John. And thank you very much for having me. Thank you.
Got it. Thanks so much for coming out. All right.